Welcome to the first episode of the Turnpike Sports Pro Pick segment for the 2024 NFL season. It's great to be back. We've been doing this for so long. I'm Doug Weishuttle, Dave Weishuttle here with me as well. Great to be back in the NFL regular season.
Absolutely. We've been doing this for a while. You actually still called it a segment, so it's not an actual segment.
No, we have gone through some changes.
You separated it out, so and we want to thank Caesar Sportsbook for providing the numbers and all.
Caesars will be riding along with us all year long here, all season long, I should say. And you're right, we did make some changes here. We usually, when we were doing it before this season, before the 2024 NFL season, we were actually doing it as a segment of our main show, Turnpike Sports.
Yep.
We have moved it out into its own little universe. It's the Turnpike Sports Pro Pick segment. It's going to be up on our website. It's going to be on our OTT channels, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, as well as our YouTube channel. And we're going to be, enjoying the regular season. And again, welcome to Caesar Sportsbook for coming on board. Just so everyone knows, Caesars.com/sportsbook-and-casino, since we're going to be doing an audio version of this as well.
Okay.
So if you can't see it on TV, it's on the TV screen right now, as a matter of fact. But, new customers, Pike 1000 is our code. If your first cash bet loses, you'll get it back as a bonus bet up to $1,000.
Wow. Okay. Great. See, I didn't even know that.
It's a great offer by
absolutely.
Caesar Sportsbook. Yes, and again, 21 year older. Terms and conditions apply. Problem gambling, 800 Gambler. All the responsible gambling messages we need to say there. Please, we take that very seriously. Bet with your head, not with your heart. I always say that. So, but again, this is the first episode of the brand new season. For people who have not been following along all this time we've been doing this, rules haven't changed. It's just the format of the show has changed a bit. We do 3 games each. We do point spreads and totals. We do not do money line bets in the show here.
Yeah, they're too easy.
They're too easy.
Yeah, they're too easy. We can always pick out the winners, but you know what? The point spreads and the totals are a little challenging. I leave my money line for my parlays, which
I have to check. We're filming this after the very first game of the season, the Chiefs-Ravens game. That was actually a great game.
Well, okay, it was entertaining. It was a great game, great way to start it off, and I'm glad we're talking about it because I'm using that game as my philosophy for picking this first week because certainly it was entertaining, okay? But there were a ton of mistakes in it. There were a ton of stupid penalties. There was a ton of missed receivers and missed passes, and and I'm sure they'll tighten everything up as the season goes on. But that's how I'm approaching week 1 of the NFL season. This kind of is an extension of the preseason because the starters have not played a lot in the preseason, so this is really when they're going to work out the kinks, I think, in the first and second weeks. And that's kind of how I'm approaching my week 1. I'm expecting a lot of mistakes. I'm expecting some sloppy play, and that has gone into my thinking of week 1 because week 1s are always difficult for me because I have no idea what to expect from these teams.
Well, I have to admit, week 1 NFL has gotten progressively harder to figure out because of the way they run preseason now. I mean, training camp is different. Preseason is different. I actually didn't see any of my starters as a Jets fan. I didn't see any starters in the preseason.
Preseason is you learn about the depth of your team.
Yes.
I mean, the depth of the other teams. Do they have enough depth to make a run in the playoffs? So preseason is good as a fan for that. I mean, it's more important for, the coaches to see who they have and who they're going to cut. But as fans, that's how I approach preseason because I can't tell what kind of team these are because the starters aren't playing.
Yep.
And now is the real test. Week 1 and week 2 is always difficult for me, like I said, because, I'm sure they're working out things. I'm sure they did a lot of practice, but game time's a little different, so I expect a little sloppy play.
The one thing I did find out on the Thursday night game, Baltimore still has trouble coming through in the clutch at the end of games when Kansas City's playing
Baltimore
against them.
has trouble with Kansas City. They're snake bit when it comes to Kansas City. I don't get it. You look at the numbers before this game goes, and the numbers are terrible when Baltimore is playing Kansas City. So
especially in the postseason.
Yeah, well,
regular season they seem to be okay. They hang with them.
Not great.
Yeah, but again, they did take care of them in the regular season last year.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we just saw it again and again and again when the game is on the line at the end of the game.
Boy, that was heartbreaking, huh?
Oh, stepped on the back line of the end zone. That's crazy.
I think. Well, let me tell you something, and this goes to what I'm saying about Week 1. The play before, he missed a wide open receiver in the end zone.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm expecting from Week 1. So, but when you miss things like that, they come to bite you in the rear end.
Yeah,
So.
and there were a lot of misplays all the way through with Baltimore,
Sure.
Kansas City even had some problems earlier. And I saw that the interception right before the half. That shouldn't have been thrown, but it happens. This is basically week 4 of the preseason, if you think about it, and that's sad to say that week 1 has turned into that, but that's the way the CBA and the NFL have worked everything. But gotten off my soapbox here. We're going to go.
Well, let's talk about how we're doing this. I mean, we're going to do our picks, and basically what we're doing is playing against each other.
Yeah.
You want to take our advice? Fine, take our advice.
Yeah.
But these are our thinking.
I wouldn't.
To beat that guy right there. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to beat that guy right there. And
yes.
I don't remember how we did last season, or
do
you have the numbers from last season of how we did?
I always look up the regular season when we
Okay.
do the first show every year.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of regular season last year, this was actually the first time I won the regular season.
Oh, okay. All right.
And it wasn't much of a win. Yeah, it's one of those things where there were some interesting aspects of the season as you went along. A lot of injuries last year, too. A lot of people didn't do what they should have been doing. The Jets fell apart. That was fun to watch, by the way.
No. Oh, well, you didn't say it right. You weren't sarcastic enough with your.
I wasn't.
He's
sarcastic.
a big Jets fan, so that's
can't they
what
tell?
happened.
Can't they tell
that's what
from
happened.
Aaron the gnome back here?
Mm-hmm.
I've named him Aaron for
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers. There.
All right.
But again, it was one of those things. The entire season was fun, but it was different.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of injuries. But here, like Dave said, we play against each other. And we invite everybody else to tag along with us. info@turnpikesportsradio.com. Feel free to send in your picks.
Absolutely.
What we do.
Yeah. Well, after we do our picks here, we're going to put them on our blog.
Exactly.
And you can comment and make your own picks and do whatever you need to do.
And also, if you want to follow,
and you want to
us,
give us some advice too.
Yeah.
So please, I'm looking for every bit of help I can get.
And if you want to follow us on social media, Instagram @Turnpike Sports Radio, Facebook @Turnpike Sports. And on Twitter, X, whatever you call that thing now, @Turnpike Sports. And also we have @Turnpike Bets as well.
Okay. Yep.
So follow us along on social media. Feel free to comment there. Feel free to email us. Feel free to comment on the blog.
Yep.
Always happy to hear our listeners' comments.
So how this is going to work again is we each pick 3 teams. We don't know what teams or what games we're going to pick before this happens. I mean, we either do the spread or we do the total, and we tally up our score at the end of the week and see how we did.
And we just play against each other throughout the entire season, all the way through to the big game.
All right.
So let's head on over to the picks.
With costs going up, Adam and Eve is the best deal around. With 50% off a sexy adult product at adamandeve.com. That's 50% off right now when you point the camera on your smartphone at the code on the screen. Don't get up. Just open your camera and point it at the screen. Hurry! You'll also get 10 free gifts, including free discreet shipping at checkout. This is your chance to get more for less. So scan now for 50% off plus 10 free gifts from adamandeve.com.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Turnpike Sports Pro Pick segment here. We've got Doug Weishuttle here with Dave Weishuttle. We're going to be going through our individual picks here for the week. We've got 3 games to go through, 3 games each. As always, we're going to be using our Caesars Sportsbook lines. We're going to be doing that throughout the entire season. Welcome Caesars to the show, again, since this is the first episode of the season.
Do we have to say that powered by Caesars? I like
No,
how
that
I
was
like how
the
certain
previous
shows
sportsbook.
do the. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had another sportsbook sponsor us before,
Yeah.
and we had to do powered by blankety blank.
Yes, and
So,
I can't bring myself to saying
Powered by.
I'll say presented by.
Powered by.
Presented by Caesars Sportsbook.
Powered by Caesars Sportsbook.
Again, Caesars.com/sportsbook-and-casino. Pike 1000 for their sign-up offer.
What was that website again?
This is what they gave me to read.
Give me the website again. I love that.
Caesars.com/sportsbook-and, spell it out, AND-casino.
Oh my god!
I have to say it because we're doing an audio version here.
It's on
so-
the screen.
Yes,
Okay.
it was on the screen all the way through the opening
Okay.
segment, too.
God.
So, but right now, let's head on over to game number 1. First game of the week here, we've got Houston Texans traveling to Indianapolis to play the Colts here. We've got a Houston favored by 3 points and an over-under total, whatever you want to call it, of 48.5.
By the way, I have this game too, so we could. It's good that we'll both start with
Yes.
this game. All right, good.
Last year it was the time of the season where Houston was sneaking up on everybody. No one was expecting the Texans to play extremely well.
By the way, the best story of the NFL season last year.
Yes.
It was so good watching this. I didn't expect too much at this time of the year. I didn't expect we'd even be talking about Houston, and that now on a TV show, someone was placing a bet on Houston to be in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Are we kidding me right now? But this is how good a story the Houston Texans were.
Well, you know how good a story they were?
Yep.
They got a lottery game.
Oh, they have a lottery game now?
The Texas Lottery did a Houston Texans lottery game with
okay.
them.
There you go.
Like the Michigan Lottery did one with Detroit.
Absolutely. Okay.
And our partners here, Caesars, did a deal with Detroit as well, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So, but going back to our game here, we're right off on a tangent, right off the bat. We've got Anthony Richardson back behind center for the Colts. Like I said, I don't think the Texans are going to be sneaking up on anybody. Everyone's prepared for them.
Mm-hmm.
They did add some more offensive weapons to the team, but I think right now
They got Stephon Diggs.
I'm not a big fan of
Oh
Stephon
my God!
Diggs.
C.J. Stroud was so good last year, and I expect him to be better this year because of Stephon Diggs.
Well-
So I think it's something pretty special. So
I actually like the Colts. And
okay.
I think the Colts have
All
enough to
right.
keep it close. Listen to some of these stats I dug out here.
All right.
Divisional home underdogs. 22-7 against the spread in week 1 since 2010, 9-2 against the spread since 2018, 17-4 against the spread since 2012. I just think everything is lining up for this to be one of those games where, yes, everyone's expecting the Texans to win the game. If I was doing a money line bet, I'd go with the Texans, but 3-point spread, I really think the Colts have enough to stay in this, and I'm going with the Colts +3.
Well, I'm going exactly the opposite of you. Earlier this week, I took a look at this game, and it was Houston Texans, and they were favored by 2.5 on Caesars. Now they're up to 3, and I still like the Houston Texans because, like I said, C.J. Stroud was great, and they've got better, and they've gotten better on defense too. They have Hunter, they have Autry, they just added them, and I think they're going to be great. Anthony Richardson, an amazing talent, incredible talent. It unfortunately got injured. He had a shoulder injury last year. I'm not hearing great things out of the Colts camp about Anthony Richardson. Maybe it's just stuff they're letting out to, just to put our expectations lower and try to sneak up on people, and he does really well and does really great. But I hope that's the case for Anthony Richardson because he's an incredible athlete. But like I said, I don't think the Colts have enough to beat the Texans, certainly, and I think the Texans are going to win this by more than 3. So I'm taking the Texans and laying the points. And and look, I think the Colts are going to do great things throughout the season. I think it's just a little early right now. Again, it's my week 1 theory of the NFL. It's another extension of the preseason, but I think Anthony Richardson has rust to deal with and coming back from an injury, and so I don't think they're going to be as sharp, and I think it's good news for the Texans, and I'm taking the Texans.
Well, the one thing I learned about the Colts last season, bet on him when Anthony Richardson playing.
Oh,
bet
no,
against him when he's not.
An amazing athlete, like a generational athlete, but, like I said, I think there's a rust factor. I think, getting back from a shoulder injury, so, we'll see.
Let's head on over to our second game of the week. My second game for the week here is the Minnesota Vikings traveling to New Jersey, not New York, to play the New York Giants.
Ah, okay.
We've got a 1.5 point spread in favor of the Vikings, and we've got a total of 41 points. Over-under is 41. What can you say about the Giants? Everyone's expecting them to be one of the worst teams in the league. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, if you watched any of the preseason games for the Giants, you saw Daniel Jones continuing to reemphasize that point that they may be one of the worst teams in the league the way he was playing.
Let me tell you something. The contract he signed, is just that this is making everything worse for the Giants. Yes. If you live in the New York area and you listen to the New York media, this is one of those things. Can Daniel Jones do anything to, earn that contract? I don't know how anyone earns that kind of a contract, but it's an amazing amount of money. But that's one of the sticking points that a lot of Giants fans have is no Saquon Barkley anymore, yep. So it's all Daniel Jones. It's Daniel Jones show. So we'll see what happens.
Over on the other side of the ball, Minnesota lost their quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. Yeah. I'm very familiar with who they're putting in now. Sam Darnold starting.
Oh, boy. Getting Jet flashbacks?
Oh, yeah. Well, Minnesota will have Jet flashbacks the way he plays sometimes. But it's kind of interesting if you look back at how the Giants play in their home games. They are 24-8-1 to the under in home games. They're going under by around 5 points per game in the under. So it's kind of interesting there. Daniel Jones, of the 33 home games that he's played, 17-6-1 to the under in the home games. Wow. Of all the games he's played at home there. That's since 2020. It's crazy the way they don't score at home. I actually think you're going to be seeing neither team score a lot of points. I mean, really, everything I've seen in the preseason from both teams leads me to believe that the under 41 is the way to go.
That's interesting. So, it's bad when we always this one's going to go under. We're actually almost rooting for a boring game. I always thought that was funny with the betting thing. But, speaking of unders, I might as well talk about my next game, the Tennessee Titans versus the Chicago Bears, who are favored by 3.5 points with a total of 44.5. Okay, this is where my week one theory of the NFL comes in. And Thursday, we saw Hall of Fame coaches and Hall of Fame quarterbacks make mistakes. I want to tell you about the new people in this game. The Tennessee Titans' second-year quarterback is going to have to deal with new pieces on the offense, a brand new head coach, and a brand new offensive coordinator. The Chicago Bears have a rookie quarterback, a new offensive coordinator, and a new quarterbacks coach. Can you imagine the stupid mistakes that are going to happen in this game? I don't know where the points are going to come from. I mean, it's just going to be messy. It's going to be sloppy. A lot of new faces. It's week one, my week one theory of the NFL. I think this is going to result in a really low-scoring game, and I think this is one of those games that's going to go under the 44.5 points. So it's already a low total right now. I think it's even going to go under that. So I'm going under 44.5 in the Titans-Bears game.
Let's head on over to the last game of the week for us. Last game of the week, I'm going to be doing a NFC East, AFC North matchup here.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be talking Dallas traveling to Cleveland. We've got Cleveland favored by 2.5 points in this game.
This is a very interesting game.
With an over-under of 41. 41 seems to be a common under for the first week. I guess that's like a middle ground kind of thing.
Well, my next game has a total of 42.
Well,
so
close enough.
So.
But here we've got the Browns are 2-16-1 straight up in week 1 since 2005. We've got 3-22-1 in straight up in openers since 1995. And even with those numbers, I'm throwing those out because what we've got here is Cleveland last year. They went 8-1 at home based on that great defense they have. They got one of the best pass rushers in the league over there. They've covered the spread in 6 straight home games to close the season last year. Mm-hmm. Very good defense, extremely good defense. They're 6-2 in their last 8 games in September as well. So there's a lot of stats here. You got Coach Stefanski. I forgot his last name already. So for week 1, I'm forgetting names already.
Okay.
We have Coach Stefanski. He's 25-19-1 against the spread versus non-AFC North opponents, which this is. This is an NFC East. Dak Prescott, all this talk about him, leading the Cowboys to another Super Bowl. He's lost 5 consecutive games against the spread against teams outside the NFC East. He's got to get over that hump there before he can do anything. Dallas was a totally different team on the road versus home. I think they went 4-5 on the road. They do not play the same way when they're away from Texas. And for all those reasons I just said, I'm going with the Browns and laying the 2.5.
Interesting. Okay. My last game is the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are favored by 3.5 points with a total of 42. I expect big things from the Falcons this year. Boy, they have been the in the NFL media, boy, they have been, the expectations have just been rising. I mean, they've had 3 consecutive seasons of 7-10. And it's just ridiculous. They have been a rut, and I think now with the new head coach, Raheem Morris is great, and I think Kirk Cousins are going to be an amazing new quarterback for them, and they have a lot of talent in a lot of positions, and I expect big things from Atlanta Falcons. And Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, okay, the good news about Pittsburgh Steelers, they have the best head coach in the NFL, in my opinion.
No losing record ever.
In Mike Tomlin. I think he is the absolute best coach, but there's just so much he can do with the quarterback situation he has. I am not a big fan of Russell Wilson, and now that I hear some reports that he has some leg issues or leg tightness, or I don't know what it was. And by the way, I made this pick before I even heard he had some leg issues. I don't even know if they're going to be even factor in on this his performance. I think the gas tank is empty, in my opinion, on Russell Wilson. So I hope he proves me wrong, but I don't think so. But like I said, I think Atlanta Falcons are talented. I think they are. I think the only benefit the Pittsburgh Steelers has is the coach. And you never want to bet against Mike Tomlin, but guess what? I'm going to bet against Mike Tomlin in this one. I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons. I think they're going to win by at least a touchdown against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who has some real issues at quarterback, and I guess they have to make a decision pretty soon if it's Russell Wilson going forward after this week, or Justin Fields, or what's going to happen there. So, but I think this week I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, that's our 3 games for the week here. We'll recap right after this.
Sign up at jackpot.com and you can bet on the world's best lotteries where the biggest jackpots are up for grabs. Powerball, Mega Millions, some of the biggest lotteries can be found at jackpot.com. Simply choose your lotto game, pick your numbers, or use their quick pick feature, and you're done. Sign up at jackpot.com with code DRAW24 and get a free lottery ticket with your first deposit. Jackpot.com, it's the world of lotto in your hand.
Terms and conditions apply. You must be at least 18 years old and in the United States to play. Void where prohibited. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Imagine if you lost 20, 30, 40, or even 50 pounds or more right away. Would you be more attractive to the opposite sex? Feel better? Sleep better? If you've tried to lose weight in the past and repeatedly failed, then you need to know about a true game-changer medication. Semaglutide is FDA approved. It can produce quick and easy results. Call the number on your screen now for free info. This is the last diet you'll ever go on. Finally lose the weight and keep it off. There's no pain, no surgery, no exercise plan, no starvation, no fasting, no silly meal prep. In fact, you can continue to eat the foods you love. Pause this screen and take down this number or store it in your cell phone. But call today for free information. The Advanced Medical Weight Loss Program is physician-based and works with your body naturally to create the feeling of being full. This is not just about losing weight. This is about what your life can become as a thinner you. Call the number on your screen now for free info. Finally, lose the weight and keep it off. Look great this summer, but hurry. There's a huge demand for this product and shortages may occur at any time. Call the number on your screen now for free information.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here to finish up and wrap up the show here. We've got our recap of our picks this week. Why don't you go ahead and recap your picks from the show there?
All right, the one same game we have is the Texans and the Colts, and I'm taking the Houston Texans and laying the 3.5 points. I'm taking the under 44.5 points in the Tennessee Titans Chicago Bears game. And I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons and laying the 3.5 points against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, like he said, we did the same game, Texans-Colts. I'm doing the opposite of him. I'm going with the underdog Colts in the game. I am going with the under 41 in the Minnesota-New York game, and I'm doing the Browns and laying the 2.5 against the Dallas Cowboys this week. Okay. As always, these picks will be put up in print version up on our blog, turnpikesports.us. Click the blog button. You'll be taken there to see the full print version there. Feel free to add your comments there. Email us, info@turnpikesportsradio.com. Follow us on social media, X, Turnpike Sports, Turnpike Bets. Both of those are on X. Turnpike Sports on Facebook, and Turnpike Sports Radio on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for week one. There's always something special. Certainly, we had Thursday night's game and Friday's game, but there's something special about the first Sunday. And I always go in so confident in week one. I'm like, oh, God, I how can I lose? I mean, I did all my research. I looked at everything. I checked out the past stats and things like that. So I feel real confident now, and I'm sure by this time next week I'm gonna try and figure out what the hell happened.
And before we
pulling out my hair,
before we sign off, welcome Caesars again.
Yes, welcome Caesars.
Looking forward to working with you throughout the entire season.
One of my favorite sports books out there.
But everyone, good luck. Bet with your head, not with your heart. Bet responsibly. Gambling problem, 800-GAMBLER.
And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike, and good luck, everyone.